Welcome back to the channel. Today we've got more college basketball best bets for Monday, January 27th. And you know what we're going to do this week? We're going to completely just put last week behind us. Like last week, other than MMA last week, just wasn't our best week. College basketball, NBA, NFL, don't want to talk about it. But you know what? PFL picks were great, obviously. We've been killing MMA, by the way. I think, MMA's been spectacular for us for years here on the channel. But we're gonna completely start over this week. We're looking for a new beginning. Okay, let's just cut the crap and get into the predictions. We're starting over this week. It's gonna be much better this week. This is kind of what I was getting to there. Folks, if you haven't yet though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more daily college basketball best bets here on the channel. Again, we're taking this all the way to March Madness and beyond. Well, March Madness in March. And then also make sure to join us later today on the channel for our daily NBA predictions. There are 12 games in the National Basketball Association today, so join us for that. Again, we're doing that daily on the channel as well. Later in the year, we'll be doing MLB best bets daily on the channel as well, so look forward to that, of course, when the MLB starts in a couple months. All right. Oh, and also our UFC Saudi Arabia predictions were posted yesterday. Main event, Israel Adesanya returns to take on Nasruddin Imavov. That is this Saturday from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. We posted our predictions for that entire fight card with 12 fights. That is linked in the description down below. All right, on to the first of our 5 best bets for today. Not a bunch of college basketball today, but there are games, obviously, and we're going to start early. We're starting at noon. We're instantly trying to get one in the win column, and we are going to St. Charles, Missouri for Little Rock and Eastern Illinois. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Little Rock is in Arkansas, and they're playing in Missouri, so I assume a neutral site game for this. So I don't know why, honestly, this is a neutral site game. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't know why Little Rock and Eastern Illinois are not playing in Little Rock, Arkansas. This is a conference game. Regardless, it doesn't matter. Give me Little Rock. Little Rock's going to blow them out the building, whatever building they're playing in. I guess they're playing in, St. Charles, Missouri at the Highland Arena here at 12 o'clock. Are there back-to-back games here? No, there's not. Why are they playing in Missouri? Doesn't matter. It literally does not matter. We're still taking Little Rock. Little Rock are minus 11.5 favorites in this game. I'm completely fine playing that line here. Again, we're starting off the week with an early game, and again, I'm fine with it. They're going to beat the crap out of the Eastern Illinois Panthers. Eastern Illinois has not won a basketball game since their win over Lindenwood, and that was a while ago. The win over Lindenwood for East Illinois was back January 2nd of this year in overtime. That game was played at East Illinois. Since then, they have proceeded to lose 7 straight games, to the likes of Western Illinois, SIU Edwardsville, Tennessee Tech, UT Martin, Tennessee State, Morehead State, and those damn screaming Eagles of Southern Indiana. So Eastern Illinois now a 1-8 team, of course, in conference play. The only victory, of course, being on January 2nd against Lindenwood. This team as a whole is just not very good. Their other victories this year are all NIAAs. We're talking about Blackburn, Calumet College, I don't know where that is, Earlham College, okay? Their only other Division I victory this year, except other than Lindenwood, was their win over NIU, Northern Illinois, back on November 29th. This is an Eastern Illinois team that is led by three players, really. We're talking about Nikhil Shelton, who's averaging 17 points a game. He dropped 38 in their loss against Morehead the other night. So again, this guy can go off for 38 points and this team will still lose. Zion Fruster, who's averaging 13 a night, and Cooper Jacoby, who's averaging 13 as well. Those are the 3 main scorers for this East Illinois team. But despite these guys, again, all averaging more than 10 a night, this team is still pitiful. When they play some of the elite teams in conference play in the OVC, they get blown out. We've seen them get blown out at Tennessee State, and Tennessee State is just one of these teams in the middle of the pack of the conference. We saw them get blown out. Morehead only beat them by 7, but that game was at East Illinois. So, again, Morehead the best team in the OVC, but Little Rock is right there as well. This is a Little Rock team that is more than capable of beating East Illinois by more than 11.5 points. Hell, look at their last victory. They went on the road to Lindenwood, and they won the game by 32 points. So this is a combination of Eastern Illinois being the worst team in the OVC and Little Rock right now playing like the best team in the conference as well. Again, yes, they have a loss earlier in the season to Morehead State, but Little Rock's right there. The Trojans are right there with Morehead this season. They are currently on a 5-game winning streak, a 20-point victory over Southern Indiana. Again, another one of these teams that are at the bottom of the conference, but I'd say the Screaming Eagles are better than the Panthers right now, and Little Rock still beat them by 20 points. Beating Southeastern Missouri on the road, only by 2, but whatever. Road victory at Tennessee Tech, road victory at West Illinois, that 11-point victory over West Illinois, who again is one of these lower teams in the conference, but that was a game at West Illinois. They still won it by 11 points. They are 11.5-point favorites here against East Illinois. And again, if the Lindenwood victory is showing us anything, it's that Little Rock can score points and they can just get away from their conference opponents here in the Ohio Valley. Jonathan Lawson leads his team in scoring with 16 a night. And this is a guy who's going to play pretty much every single minute of the game for Little Rock. He averages 37.5 minutes a night for the Trojans. Hell, I mean, this is like Tom Thibodeau numbers out here for Little Rock. You get Mawani Wilkinson, who's averaging 14 a night. Again, this is a guy who plays 35 minutes a night as well. Ante Belizian, who averages 11.5, and Isaiah Lewis, who's averaging about 10 a night as well. Little Rock's just the better scoring team. They are. Again, East Illinois has guys who can score, but again, even when they get nights where their leading scorer, Nikhil Shelton, is scoring 38 points, they still lose to Morehead State, and that game was at home, so that's the type of effort. Again, Shelton could put up 38, and this team will still lose by 7. So as long as Nikhil Shelton doesn't put up an all-time type performance, I think we're okay. Little Rock, again, neutral site game, early game. Well, I guess Missouri game's going to be at 2 p.m., so I mean a day game for both these teams. But I think Little Rock's completely fine in the spot. I don't know why this game is at a neutral site. I don't get it. Oh, the original game was postponed, I guess, on December 21st. But that game was at Little Rock, and now on the schedule it says East Illinois has 2 home games against Little Rock. I guess this is Little Rock's home game. Is Little Rock just like, are they not playing in Arkansas right now? I could be wrong. Maybe it's a rivalry game. I'll be completely honest with you. I don't know. No, they're not even close though. Well, East Illinois, Arkansas, kinda? Not really. Anyways, give me the Little Rock Trojans to win the basketball game. They have the better scoring offense, and honestly, they have the better defense as well. Again, holding West Illinois and Lindenwood to under 100 points combined in the last 2 games, that's something. West Illinois with 51, Lindenwood with 46. I mean, that's impressive defense that Little Rock has been playing. I think the offense can score as well. I'm going to take the Little Rock Trojans here in Missouri to beat the East Illinois Panthers, and I expect them to cover the 11.5 points as well. Next up, we go to the very next game on the schedule in the SWAC. I know, again, we said it like last week, a couple weeks ago, we're going to stay away from the SWAC for a little bit, and yeah, we are going to, because I think SWAC play is completely unpredictable. I think anybody can win in the SWAC right now, and anybody can lose in the SWAC right now, with the exception of Mississippi Valley State and Southern. Southern's the best team in the SWAC, and the Delta Devils are by far the worst team in the SWAC. Those 2 teams happen to be playing today in Mississippi. I'm going to stay away from Southern minus 21.5. I'm not going to lie to you. I was thinking about it, but not playing anything minus 21.5. I think Southern probably still does cover that line, but that's not one of the 5 best bets for today. Instead, we are taking Bethune-Cookman on the road at Alcorn State. Okay, guys, Bethune-Cookman is just the better basketball team, okay? Alcorn State's a 3-16 team this year. This team was absolutely horrible non-conference this year. They lose to Xavier, which is an NIAA school, prior to conference play. We took them to actually beat Jackson State in the battle of winless teams to kick off SWAC play on January 4th. It didn't go our way. Since then, Alcorn has had a winning record. They are 3-2 since the Jackson State loss. A win at home against Alabama A&M, a win at home against Alabama State, losses on the road at Texas Southern, and at home in their last one against Florida A&M. And that right there is the reason we are picking Bethune-Cookman. Losing to Florida A&M is not ideal. It's just not. I don't think Florida A&M's all that good. I've watched them like once this year, I'll be honest, but the times, again, that I've seen Florida A&M, I've watched them live once, but Florida A&M last year, not a very good team. Not a very good team this year either. Bethune-Cookman, it's not like they're, head and shoulders better than Alcorn State. I do think they are, though, just the better team. Why? Bethune-Cookman's only losses this year in the SWAC are the 2 best teams in the conference. We're talking about Jackson State and Southern. You can make the case maybe the other good team in this conference is Texas Southern. Right now, I think Jackson State, Mo Williams has got those guys playing better ball than Texas Southern. I don't know. We'll see again down the stretch. So right now, again, I'd rank these teams Southern than Jackson State. I know, again, Jackson State lost to Southern, but that was on the road. I think if that game's at Jackson State, I think Jackson State probably wins it. I don't know, again, who knows with the SWAC conference. I think Southern, though, is by far the best team. Regardless, Bethune-Cookman's only lost to the best of the best in the SWAC, and those games were on the road. We've seen this team go on the road multiple times this year and win in the SWAC. We're talking about a win at Florida A&M, a win at Grambling. I get it, Grambling's not the best, but again, hey, Florida A&M's a team that just went to Alcorn and won as well. Wins at home over Mississippi Valley State and Arkansas Pine Bluff. Those are the 2 winless teams in the SWAC, but it is what it is. This team has shown capability of going on the road and winning. Hell, Bethune-Cookman earlier this year went to Orlando and beat Tampa. they're in Tampa. They went to Tampa and beat Southern Florida. So Bethune-Cookman's more than capable. I think they have the best player on the court, and that's going to be Trey Thomas, the point guard for Bethune-Cookman, averaging 14 points a game. But in the last couple games he's played, Trey Thomas has gone completely off. 22 points in the Mississippi Valley State victory, 31 in the Arkansas Pine Bluff game, and 20 in the loss to Jackson State. Trey Thomas is a guy that's not going to come off the court, and it's what he's had to step into since Brayon Freeman has gotten injured. Freeman was this team's leading scorer. He got injured in the Southern loss, but ever since then, again, Trey Thomas has taken over as the leading scorer for Bethune-Cookman, and he's excelled in that role. And I don't think Alcorn State has a guy on their team that can match the production Trey Thomas puts up. I just think, again, Trey Thomas is going to be the leading scorer in this basketball game. You get him, you get Daniel Ruzan, and you get Reggie Ward Jr. These are going to be the leading scorers for Bethune-Cookman, but by far, again, it is Trey Thomas who is the guy here for the Wildcats. And Alcorn State's led by Keontae Cornelius, a guy who's averaging 10.5 points a game. You get Jaliki Gaines Wyatt, who's averaging 10. I mean, just not much production coming out of this Alcorn State team. They do really struggle to score sometimes. They get into these low-scoring games, and I do think, even though Bethune-Cookman's on the road here, I expect them to be able to score against Alcorn. Again, especially a guy in Trey Thomas who, you know, when Brayon Freeman's been out, this guy has put up 22, 31, and 20. He's putting up big points in big minutes. And I expected him to have a night. Again, Bethune-Cookman as a whole this year has just been the better basketball team than Alcorn State. And I get it, you know, looking straight at the records, Alcorn State's 3-16, Bethune-Cookman 7-12. But back to my point earlier, again, Bethune-Cookman's only lost to the best teams in the SWAC this season. We're talking about Southern. We are talking about a team in Jackson State with Mo Williams coaching. I think Bethune-Cookman's fine in this spot. We just saw Florida A&M go to Alcorn State and win. Who's to say Bethune-Cookman can't do the same exact thing? Give me Trey Thomas and the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats to go on the road to Alcorn State and pick up the victory here against the Braves. And they'll cover the 2.5 points. That's important. That's very important. All right, next up, we move to a game here between Lamar. This one's at Lamar against Northwestern State in Beaumont, Texas. We are taking Lamar minus 3.5. This is a big-time game in the Southland Conference. Now, all these teams obviously are chasing McNeese. McNeese is by far the best team in this conference, and McNeese actually today has a pretty big game. They are going on the road, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, they're going on the road to Corpus Christi, Texas to take on Texas A&M Corpus Christi. I think McNeese wins. I think they cover the 6.5, but I feel better about this game, honestly, because you know, A&M Corpus Christi's actually been really good this season. But this game here between Northwestern State and Lamar, I like the Cardinals in this spot. Lamar are 3.5 point favorites in this game. This team did go on a losing streak. They lost back-to-back games at home to SF Austin and to the New Orleans Privateers, which is bad. And then they lost, obviously, as expected on the road against McNeese, the team who is very likely going to represent the Southland Conference in the NCAA tournament. But Lamar has bounced back. They went to Nichols and won, something that we didn't expect was going to happen. And they just won at home against East Texas A&M, who I understand is not very good, but still, you get Northwestern State coming into this one. Northwestern State actually beat the two teams that Lamar lost to at home, those pretty bad teams in the New Orleans Privateers and SF Austin. But I think we're okay in this spot. Northwestern doesn't really score that many points, especially when they're on the road. Again, they scored 57 on the road and beat SF Austin, which, again, if you're beating Stephen F. Austin, like, it is what it is. They are absolutely atrocious, and I get it. Lamar gave Stephen F. Austin their only win in the Southland Conference, but hey, this is what have you done for me recently? And Lamar has looked better in their last two basketball games. And again, the game is going to be played in Texas in this one. I think Lamar should be able to get it done. This is a team led by Alexis Marmolejos. These guys averaging 15.5 points a game. You get Deshaun Jackson, who's averaging 12, and Andrew Holyfield, who averages 11 a night. And Adam Hamilton's going to be the big on this team, averaging 9 points a game and 6.5 boards. I don't think the Northwestern State Demons are as good. You get this team led by Addison Patterson, who's averaging 13, Micah Thomas averaging 10, John Sanders the second averaging 10 as well. I just think the game being played in Lamar is going to make all the difference. Northwestern State just played on the road a couple days ago, took Stephen F. Austin to overtime and won, and even in an overtime game, they only scored 57 points. I just think Lamar is going to be able to outscore them, and especially, again, this team just went on the road in Northwestern State. They did win, but they played put a long game in that one, and now they got to go back on the road to take on Lamar. I think it does favor the Cardinals in this spot. I get it. They just played in overtime as well against East Texas A&M, but the difference is they don't have to travel. That game was at home for them, and I think they're kind of getting it back together. Again, the win on the road against Nichols was impressive. It was something that we didn't think the Cardinals were going to be able to do, and the win at home against East Texas A&M, again, not the best team, but they figured out a way to win. And Marmolejos has been playing pretty well. Again, the leading scorer of this team, averaging 15.5 points a game. He put up 24 out of the 61 points that Lamar scored in the East Texas A&M game. If everyone around Marmolejos gets going, I think the Cardinals should be fine. Again, if we just get output out of one guy, it'll be kind of tough. But again, at the same time, guys, Northwestern State, not the best scoring team either. The same impact that Marmolejos has sometimes for Lamar, that's what Addison Patterson has for the Northwestern State Demons. I think Lamar's going to be okay in this spot. I expect them to win this basketball game, and I expect them to cover the 3.5 points as well. Again, the game being in Texas, I just think Lamar can get away from this team a little bit. They have built up some momentum now with back-to-back wins, and I think they continue to, improve and carry on that momentum with a victory here at home and a cover here, obviously, of the 3.5 points against the Northwestern State Demons. Obviously, again, all these teams just chasing McNeese in the Southland Conference. We'll see how they fare in Corpus Christi today. But give me Lamar at home to win and cover the 3.5 against Northwestern State. Next up, we move to the two big-time games, obviously. One at 7 p.m., one at 7:30. The biggest game of the night at 7:30, obviously, in Tucson. There is a game today between NC State and Duke, but what the hell do you want me to do with Duke minus 21.5? I don't know. I'll tell you what, Duke's going to win the basketball game, but these are the better ones. These are the two big games that we get to pick today. UCLA on the road at USC. Give me the Bruins. I don't know if Bilodeau's playing. I would not expect Tyler Bilodeau to play. He got injured in the Washington game the other day, and unfortunately, we didn't cover by 0.5 point in that one. Obviously, a buzzer-beating 3 for Washington, down by 8, screwed us out of the points, but it's fine. I've kind of bought into UCLA. I'm not going to lie. I've bought in over the last 3 games, and I've bought into Adai Mara. He is a 7'3" center who is a sophomore from Spain. And with now Bilodeau getting hurt, and he was already a factor prior to the Bilodeau injury, but he's playing more minutes as the season has gone on, and Mara's a monster. The dude's huge. You can't go into the paint with this guy. As soon as Mara got extended minutes in the Washington game, Great Osabor wasn't scoring in the second half. He had like 2 points in the entire second half, or he might have had 0 because of what Adai Mara was able to do down low. So that immediately, this rim protector, he's huge. He takes away any threat you have of driving to the basket. And I think that takes away a lot of options, obviously, for UCLA. For USC. We'll see how St. Thomas adjusts to it. I assume St. Thomas will be on him, if I'm not mistaken. Josh Cohen, probably. Yeah, probably. No, Josh Cohen's doesn't play that many minutes. It'll be Cohen, and it'll be probably St. Thomas as well. It is what it is. But again, it just eliminates any threat you have of effectively driving to the hoop because of the impact Mara has. He was blocking so many shots in Seattle the other day. And you, again, combine that with these other guys on this UCLA team. Again, we'll see if Bilodeau plays. Again, that's yet to be seen. But they've got so many guys on this UCLA team that are kind of just, they have players. They have talent. It's just guys who haven't kind of reached into their potential this season. I'm talking about Sebastian Mack. We're talking about Dylan Andrews, who's only averaging 7. We're talking about Lazer Stefanovic, who's only averaging 5. Sky Clark's averaging 7 as well. They've just got so many guys. Kobe Johnson's averaging 8. Hell, everyone on this team feels like they're underperforming. But it's about time these guys start stepping up, and I feel like everyone's kind of started to step up in the last couple games for the Bruins. Again, winning against Iowa by 24 points, beating Wisconsin by 2, and again, Adai Mara with 22 and 5 in that game. The UW victory on the road, getting it done. They struggled a lot in that first half, but UCLA, again, as the game went on, the first half they struggled, but as the game continued to go on, again, UCLA kept building momentum in that basketball game. Sure, they went on a 4-game losing streak in Big Ten play, but I think they've got it figured out now. And now, isn't this odd? UCLA versus USC is a Big Ten basketball game. Is it on the Big Ten Network? It's on FS1, but still, it just feels weird. UCLA's on the road. Obviously, they're going, 20 minutes max to USC for this game. And the Trojans, obviously, led by Desmond Claude. This is a guy who's averaging 16 points a game. Good player, not going to lie. But I do just think UCLA is slightly better right now than SC. I get it, SC's won 3 out of 4 in their own right? Going to Illinois, winning, beating Iowa at home, losing to Wisconsin at home, and then going to Nebraska and winning, obviously, as well. But I'm telling you guys, the game-changing factor, in my opinion, is Adai Mara. Again, we'll see if Tyler Bilodeau plays. If he does, great. But if not, I'm not totally against seeing more minutes for Mara. Now, Mara is not just a straight scoring threat. You're not going to keep feeding this guy down low. But every missed shot, Mara is going to be on the glass, and he's going to try to put that shot back up. And that's what Wisconsin learned. That's what Washington was having trouble with as well. And again, he's such a good rim protector. I'm telling you, Adai Mara has got NBA potential just because of his size alone. And the guy plays like he's 7'3". He is a pretty damn good center. So again, we'll see if Bilodeau plays. The way UCLA is, though, again, randomly every night it'll be someone else. It'll be Eric Daly. It will be Sebastian Mack. It'll be Kobe Johnson. It'll be Sky Clark. It'll be Stefanovic. It'll be Dylan Andrews. One of these guys are bound to explode. There is talent on UCLA. Again, it's just not all these guys, I feel like, have, reached out into their potential this season. And I think UCLA is getting it together. I do think they're a better team than USC. I don't think the game being at SC makes too much of a difference. Obviously, UCLA is just literally right there. They are literally the University of California, Los Angeles. It's in the same city as USC, obviously. And I think the Bruins get it done. Again, I am sold on Adai Mara. That's kind of the main reason we're picking UCLA, because I don't know how USC adjusts to it. Again, Mara, it's not like he's been playing huge minutes all year long. It's just been the last 2 games really where Mara has really come on. 30 minutes in the UW game, 21 in the Wisconsin game. Prior to that, the Rutgers game, 7 minutes. Maryland game, 3 minutes. Michigan game, 9 minutes. The UNC game last year, 4 minutes. They weren't really playing this guy that much, but they should have been all along. Adai Mara's a monster, man. We need more minutes for the sophomore out of Spain. And I think, again, Mara is that tipping point to where I'm picking UCLA to win this basketball game at USC. They win the game. They cover the 1.5 points. We like UCLA in this classic Big Ten matchup against the USC Trojans. We move on to our final game of the night, and obviously we save the best for last. The best game of the night in the Big 12 Conference. We go to Tucson, Arizona for the number 3 ranked Iowa State Cyclones and the Arizona Wildcats. I'm taking Iowa State. Okay, I get it. Going to Tucson's a tough place to play. Arizona is on fire right now. They're 7-1 in conference. They have the same conference record as the Iowa State Cyclones. I understand that. Iowa State coming off their victory on Saturday at Arizona State. They're staying in Arizona for this one, and we are taking them again. I do think Iowa State's able to show up and rise to the occasion here. Why? Curtis Jones. Curtis Jones is that good of a scorer, man. This guy, he produces. Curtis Jones averaging 18.5 points a game. You saw in the victory in Tempe, he scored 33 in that one. I mean, the man gets buckets. And you compliment him with Joshua Jefferson, who a couple nights ago or 2 games ago erupted for 30 as well. Guys, Iowa State 17-2 this year. The loss in Morgantown is weird. It is. But West Virginia now, oddly enough, has victories over Iowa State and Kansas this year. Look out Houston, I guess, when Houston doesn't have to go to Morgantown, do they? Regardless, whatever. Houston right now playing like the best team in the Big 12. Obviously, their victory. Somehow they pulled it off in Lawrence the other day. Don't know how that happened. Well, I do know, but it's just crazy. But don't forget again, Iowa State, 2 losses this year in Morgantown. And then, obviously, Auburn in November. I think they're fine here. I think they are. Arizona, obviously a team at the beginning of the season expected to do big things. They did not have a good non-conference run, losing to Wisconsin, losing to Duke, losing to Oklahoma, losing to West Virginia to kick off Big 12 play, and then losing to UCLA as well. Since that UCLA loss, though, they have lost 1 game, and that was on the road in Lubbock against the Texas Tech Red Raiders, who are pretty damn good as well. And I get it. People are, siding with Arizona because the game is in Tucson. Caleb Love, obviously a very good player. You get Jaden Bradley, you get KJ Lewis. But again, don't forget the amount of scoring threats there are for Iowa State. Jones, Keyshawn Gilbert, Joshua Jefferson. I mean, there are guys on this team that can effectively get to the hoop and effectively put up points. I'm going to take Iowa State in this spot. I don't think, again, the game being at Arizona makes... Well, it does. It's going to make a difference. But I don't think it makes enough difference to the point where they're going to win over Iowa State here. I don't know. Again, Arizona is a talented team. Don't get me wrong. Just because their record is, 13-6 doesn't mean they're not talented. They are talented. They are 7-1, obviously, in the Big 12 for a reason, with the only loss again coming against Texas Tech. Oh, the WVU loss, that was a conference game, wasn't it? Or not a conference game. That was a tournament game. My fault on that one. That was a tournament game. What tournament was that? That was it was Bahamas one. Regardless, my fault on that. They did lose to WVU earlier this year. Then they went to Morgantown and won. But regardless, I do think Iowa State gets them here. I think Iowa State all around is the better basketball team. I get it. Again, going to Arizona is going to be brutal. It is. It's a late night game, obviously. I mean, time difference shouldn't play too much of a factor, obviously, because the Cyclones have been out in the Southwest for a while now at this point. but I do think Iowa State's able to overcome being on the road here. I get it. Arizona is very capable. Trust me, I know they are. I know they are with Caleb Love. So a team that was ranked in the top 10 to start the season. But right now, I do just think Iowa State's the better team. I understand they went to Morgantown and lost earlier in the year, but I think they're able to go to Arizona and get it done. It should be a big time game, man. But I think Iowa State, again, rises to the occasion. I think they, kind of, I mean, they're not going to stay number 3, obviously, because Houston's going to come up the rankings. But I think they keep their spot in the top 5. I would expect them to stay in the top 5, probably. Yeah. And I'm taking the Iowa State Cyclones to win here on the road at Arizona, picking up a huge victory against a good Arizona team. But again, the difference in this game, I think, is Curtis Jones' ability to score 33 in Tempe against ASU. I'm not saying he puts up that many in Tucson, but I do think he's able to score out well. I think Curtis Jones and the Iowa State Cyclones pick up one of their biggest victories this season as they go on the road to Tucson and take care of business against the Arizona Wildcats. So folks, thank y'all for watching our 5 best bets for college basketball here on Monday, January 27th. If you haven't yet though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you do disagree with any of the picks. We'll be back again tomorrow for more college basketball best bets, and obviously we have our NBA predictions coming out on the channel in a couple hours as well. So make sure to join us for that, folks. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like and make sure to comment if you do disagree with any of the picks. Folks, thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.